Yes, Malati ma'am. We can start. Ma'am, you're mute.
Good evening to all the panelists and all the viewers, all the people who are attending today's webinar. Um, as you all know, that today we are looking at Dream School for a Gifted Student in India and the Kaveri Gifted Education and Research Center, which basically focuses on children with high ability in schools. We are conducting these small webinars to understand from the different stakeholders. Very recently, we heard a speaker who was there in the NEP 2020. He said not stakeholders, but partners in education. Whether it is a parent or a student or a teacher, we are all partners. So we are trying to understand that what needs to be done in our schools to help these children with talent, and how do you help these children in the schools. So this is the context today that we will be looking at. And as you all know, India has a large population. We have almost about 138 crores of people living. And in any nation, it is said, almost 20 to 30% consists of youth. So imagine the strength of India. We are very strong with our youth. And if that is so, today we have amongst us a small representation of four young youth, I should say, that Ketki, Rutuj, Rahul, and Ameya. We have these people who've just come out of school and who've gone into graduation, who are graduated, some have graduated, some are still on the verge of graduation, and some are also into higher education. We have Rahul Bhatt here, who is joined us from UK. And we have Rutuj, who's pursuing his studies in Srishti and in Srishti School of Design, and it is in Bangalore. Amaya, he's in Pune. And we also have Ketki Joshi, who's in Pune. So this is a small sort of representation that we have been able to collect for this webinar, only to understand from them that if they were to have a school or maybe create a school, then what would they want? Because these are the children who have just come out of school and who have pursued whatever passion they have. And in fact, Ketki says that whenever she does something, she is so focused about her work that she is committed to her task. And these are few characteristics of a gifted person. And these children have exhibited. Now we have Ameya. He's passionate about football. And he does very well in training. He has an instant rapport with his students, and he is all out there. So how did they get into their areas of interest, and what did they do, and how did the school help them in their talent, nurturing their talent? We would like to understand. And also, what do these young individuals want their schools to actually create, or which they felt was not there, and that could be an addition. So today that is the context of today's webinar. We are trying to understand from our youth as to what do we need to do in our schools to help children with high ability, because we already had started with less ability a long time back, and still even in that we have not succeeded much. But compared to high ability, we have at least something on paper. But for high ability, we do not have very much information or support for our schools to enable us to nurture the talent. So India is losing out on so much talent. So hence, today's webinar will focus and will ask questions to each one of the panelists. And I would like every panelist and every member to just take 5 minutes, because we'll first ask you about your experiences first, and then we will ask you for your suggestions. So, and in case I feel somebody is taking a little longer time to finish their thing, if you don't mind, I will just sort of in between just remind you that the other person also needs a little chance. Okay, so if you don't mind, shall I continue? So you,
Sure.
the speakers can unmute so that you can be heard.
Yes,
Okay.
sure, ma'am.
definitely.
Sure.
Yeah. So now I think I will start alphabetically. Okay. So we have Amaya first. Okay. So as you all know, Amaya is a football fan, and he has pursued his talent in football, and he is a coach at the Flame University. He is an owner of a sports management company, and he's a scout at the Spanish Football Management Agency, and he helps in coordinating, and he has his own sort of football programs that he arranges. So Ameya, can we hear from you as to how did your school, what was it like when you were a student in your school? Because all of you have done your schooling in India. So how was it like? And when did you realize that you had talent for football? All yours.
Right. Firstly, yeah. Thank you so much, ma'am. And I'm used to this because of the roll number system as well. I've always been the first on the table to speak.
Yeah.
So basically, the thing is that when I was in KHS itself, and I started playing football primarily when I joined the secondary section, because in the primary section there was not much of opportunity for football, or we didn't have that as an option. So while I joined the secondary section, we had Mr. Mangesh Parab with us, our football coach. So he started with the selections, and during that time, I was very fascinated by football. I had not played football much. I was playing cricket before, like most of the Indians at a young age. But then I started playing football in my sixth standard, and then the journey started. Initially, it was just because of a hobby, but then once I started playing football, I got uh, into the game, and then I could not think of life without football. And that's how the journey actually started. So I would honestly say that it started with the school, and then it went on ahead when I went on to represent clubs and different teams in the years to come. But it did start with the school team itself.
Thank you.
So
Thank you, Ameya. That's lovely to hear that the school, when you came to school, then you realized that you had a talent for football. That's very encouraging, because very recently I was reading about Swati Mohan, who is with NASA, and with that they have Perseverance spacecraft. And she said that what made her get into this field of astronomy and interest in astronomy was a movie called Star Trek. And also, it seems her physics class in school that motivated her to take the line of astronomy, and that's how she entered NASA. So I want to ask Ketki next, that how has it been for you, Ketki? Because you have a master's in counseling psychology, you're aspiring to be a psychotherapist, and you love writing and reading, and you want to be a writer, and you feel that your total immersion in a task you believe in task commitment, and you believe whenever you take any activity, then you're totally in it. And so according to Renzulli, task commitment is one of the traits of a high ability child. Okay, so Ketki, can you please share with us your journey?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. My journey, like Ameya and like most of us, also started with our school. I am basically an introvert, so I used to write for myself and read for myself. And it was not until I got really good marks in one of the English and Marathi papers and my answers were read out loudly in class for everybody that I realized that, okay, now I have a certain responsibility to live up to my own standards and I have to do nicely. It was only after that that I started paying attention to my hobby and started growing out of that. After that, the librarian in school, Mrs. Ashwini Sarpodar, she was really helpful in guiding me as to what books I should choose. And she used to pay personal attention to things like what genres I'm choosing. And okay, now when you're done with this, you should go a level higher and then read this as well. And that was really helpful for me. I quickly got out of the marks thing and went into the growth perspective of reading, writing, and exploring myself out of it.
That's lovely to hear, Ketki, that you were able to immediately switch over from just getting, feeling happy with marks and thinking about a larger vision for yourself.
Yes.
And that is, that is very encouraging. Yes. You want to say something, Ketki?
Yes, ma'am. Initially, I was satisfied with the marks thing because I was getting some attention and stuff. But very quickly, it was not enough. I wanted something more, and that I always found out of the classroom.
That's interesting. So what made you take psychology?
I have always found, as you also kindly said in my introduction, that rather than getting somewhere, rather than doing something, the being part in that process is very, very important to me. Rather than focusing on the outcome, what I'm getting out of the process and how I'm growing through it, the kind of person I'm becoming into, and what values the process is nurturing within me is very important. And psychology as a discipline has really helped me in that regard because it's all about self-development.
Very nice. You're quite a deep person, Ketki. I'm a doing and a being person and doing person. That's very difficult even for adults to be in that space. But I'm happy that you have a lot of qualities that a psychotherapist needs, and wish you the best for that. Now, between Rahul Bhatt and Rutuj, both of you have an R, okay? So I was wondering, now what do I do? Now let me know whom I will call out. Guess. Whom will I call out? Whose name will I call out?
Rutuj.
Ketki, now you tell me. Whom am I going to? Rutuj or Rahul?
Rutuj.
Yeah, I'll take Rahul next because Rahul's surname ends with Bhatt. Okay, so alphabetically, Rahul will be the person whom I'll be calling out. So Rahul, you are speaking, you have joined us from UK and you have graduated as an engineer from MIT Pune. So please share with us your journey.
Sure, ma'am. I mean, when you ask the question that when did you discover your talent, I don't really think I ever discovered it. I mean, I believe that it is more of a direction that was guided through mentors that I had in school or somewhere else outside the school where I was mostly involved in sports a lot of times. So it's always been more about logical thinking than actually finding talent. And nurturing this logical thinking has actually had a long way to go right from primary school. I don't know if you remember, I had a teacher from KHS, Mugdha Joshi ma'am, who was really, she had an initiative where she actually led most of the students into Olympiads like Science Olympiad, Math Olympiad, Cyber Olympiad and stuff. And just taking that initiative and just participating in those gives a lot more perspective than a normal school gives you. You get to know a lot more stuff than what you can usually get in a normal curriculum. And probably that's where it's all started. I mean, you basically get to look at things in a different view. Uh, it went on into my high school as well. I mean, I participated in most of the extracurricular stuff, right from swimming, football. I was probably, I mean, I was the prefect of the school once. I was the head boy as well. So it gave me a lot more perspective than just being a student in the school. And even Samina ma'am, actually, I was probably the batch, first batch of gifted child program. And we were given a lot more opportunity in general to go and explore stuff. So I think that has had a very big impact on what I am right now. The only small thing I think I was missing in school was knowing what was out there, even beyond what I was given the opportunity. I mean, right now what I'm doing is motorsport engineering, and I don't think I ever knew about motorsports before I came into engineering. I mean, not even the concept of actual racing and engineering that goes behind it. So I would think that just being just having the initiative to go around, look around is more important than sitting in the classroom and studying math and science. So that made a bigger difference.
Thank you, Rahul. What I hear you saying is mentoring has helped you because
Definitely.
all through you had mentors who were able to understand you. So that is very important for actually for any student. That's very important. But more so, I would say, for a child with high ability. And the other thing which I heard you saying is all these competitions helped. And in you having been introduced to these competitions, that means at every given time you had few challenges which you enjoyed doing. You enjoyed taking up these challenges, and you were able to use your mind for cognitively to actually help you in what the school was not giving. You were getting it through these competitions because it
Exactly.
gave you a larger perspective of things, and it had content which was not there in the school space. And so that is how you have benefited by these competitions. And you were introduced to it by a teacher from the school. So I hear you saying that. Yeah, thank you, Rahul. And now, Rutuj, from you, you are at present with Shrishti, and you have taken up textile designing. And we would like to hear from you, Rutuj, that when did you realize that this has been your talent and you like design, and you wanted to focus on design? And then how did you get into the Shrishti space? Because getting into Shrishti is not very easy. So what did you have to do to get into an institute like Shrishti, which is so well known today in India? Yeah.
Absolutely, ma'am. So growing up, I was always gravitated towards creative expression. Um, I changed my school from a 10,000 student school to a very small, a new school in third grade. So this frog went to a little tiny well quite early. And in a class of 20 students, there would be like two or three students who would like enjoy drawing or do creative stuff in general. So very quickly, I realized that the way I express was through creative mediums. Through I was me the most when I had a crayon in my hand or color pencils in my hand, and that is how I was able to express the most clearly and put my thoughts across the best to my teachers and everything else. Also, being in a small school, I whenever they used to have chances where artists needed to step up, I would be like one of those quick options to go to because, again, less options and I would enjoy that thoroughly. while growing up again after 10th grade, I realized, so my mom's a fashion designer and I have been always been influenced by her. And I have worked with her before coming to Srishti. So my graph goes the other way, where I actually did hands-on market work before learning theory. So I used to design for customers before actually knowing what I was doing or the technical terms of what I was going, the process I was following. And that gave me a lot of confidence. And that is when I realized that I really enjoyed this. This is where art and design. So I did not want to just become an artist. I wanted to become a designer. Seeing what you make and your creation being used by someone, not just viewed, was what gave me excitement. And that is why I decided to do design. And fashion design was an easy thing because it came from my mom and I just took it ahead. That is why I'm here.
That's lovely to hear you, Rutuj, because we always say that the home has got equal responsibility in raising a gifted child. Yeah, just
Absolutely.
yesterday we had somebody who has two gifted children, and she spoke to us from Kentucky, US. And she shared with us her challenges when she was raising two gifted children. So I'm so happy that Rutuj, you shared that you already had this sort of an atmosphere in environment in your home. And the school also helped you, and you realized that this is your strength and you have this talent, and how you were able to pursue this talent, and how you got a taste of it even before you started actually learning the theory part and getting into an institute. So here, in fact, these are some memories which you all have all shared. And I would like to share with you a small quote which I found really beautiful of Abdul Kalam. He says, sometimes it's better to bunk a class and enjoy with friends, because today when I look back, marks never make me laugh, but memories do. So I think, all of you just now have shared such wonderful memories of your school life. And these memories will keep you in good stand and will remain with you all the way, because you will be showing your gratitude to all those people who have helped you in your journey. Now, I would like to ask you about what would do you think that an institute, whether it is a school or higher education, what do you think that we need to do in our schools to help children with abilities like y'all, or with different abilities? What do we need to do? What do we need to take into consideration? And how do we go ahead? So we'll start with Rutuj now.
So I would like to share a little fact about myself. I have been an exchange student in 11th grade. I went to the United States for a year and attended high school there. And that gave me an immense perspective on how high school education works in the States compared to how it works here. And it was a good contrast of the student culture there and the student culture here and how it impacts your career choices later. And one of the biggest things I found very, very interesting there was you were able to customize your education. Your education was in your hands, where you directed it uh, on your own. So you could decide the difficulty level you wanted to go towards, you could decide the channel you wanted to take, and you could decide the grades that you wish that you thought you deserve. So I took up, because I was on an exchange, I did not go into intense mathematics or anything. I went more towards artistic subjects there in high school, and I could take up um, master classes in art and creative writing and so on, whereas not focusing my energies on science and maths during that time, because that is what I wanted to excel in. I could also grade myself. It was it felt as if the education is my responsibility, where I decided what I wanted to learn, and the teacher channeled my education towards, like, they guided me towards where I wanted to go. And I think that has been my biggest takeaway from that experience. And I feel like it being applied here would help a lot of people.
Good, Rutuj, beautiful. It was beautiful. You spoke about customizing education. So here, what I heard you saying, Rutuj, is that you were given a choice. And when you were given a choice, you took ownership of your own uh, learning. So here,
Absolutely. You're
yeah, instead
accountable
of
for your own education.
yes. So I think that gives a real high to a child with high ability. That when I know that it's not my mother who's saying, come on, Rutuj, get up, you have to study, pass exam. It's not like that. So here that ownership of your education is you have become suddenly an owner and you realize and even self-assessment. So you have to decide that, okay, this is what you have to do. And who has taken that choice? You have made that choice for yourself. And when you have made that choice, then you better be good at it. So all the time, the one who is pushing you is yourself. So I call it self-driven. So this self-driven space is beautiful. So this we'll make a note. It's very nice. Thank you, Rutuj. Rahul, what about you?
Um, so very similar to what Rudut said, but the problem that comes into my mind is today initiative is king. I mean, what about people who don't really take the initiative initially? I mean, they just don't know what to do. So having the mentorship that I had was lucky, but then again, secret to getting ahead was always getting started, and getting started is where we lack most of the time. So wherever I mentioned extracurricular, um, that actually has helped me more than the curricular. So make instead of it being extra, it needs to be a part of the curriculum. So everyone needs to understand that uh, some aspects other than uh, the subjects that are required for basic life skills, that is more towards our interest and our passion, and that passion needs to be developed from a really young age. I mean, you need to let people realize that you have more options than just science, math, commerce, or arts. I mean, there are too many things around. So making sure that each and every student who comes into our school or any school needs to know what is out there, and also needs to realize if something is not out there and if something new can be done, he has the capacity and he is allowed to do something new. He or she, I'm sorry if I'm not being gender neutral here, but anyway. uh, so, and free opinion is one more thing. I mean, most of the times what we are taught is someone's opinion. It's not always for us to think what is right or wrong. We have been fed something is right and something is wrong, and that doesn't really make sense in this world right now. I mean, everyone needs to realize that you have a choice to make your own opinions. You have a choice to understand what is really going on and then make a choice. So in the education point of view, right now, motorsport or something which is like Amir is doing, like football, it is not really something that Indians would pursue very naturally. It is something that has come out of some kind of a passion, some kind of, I don't know, risk factor that comes with it. And we need to make sure that no student thinks that it is risky. It's something that you should be able to pursue without having to fear anything. That's the main point that I would like to make.
Yeah. Rahul, what I heard you saying is mentorship is very, very important in schools. And you need to be guided properly, and mentoring. And another thing which I heard you saying, which is so beautiful, is exploration, exploring. And like, And the other thing is about extracurricular activities. So I'm very happy to share with you that now with the new education policy, it is talking about immersing these extracurricular activities as curricular activities. So it has really opened up the space for schools to be more flexible. And so I'm happy to share with you that very soon we will be having a lot of these activities as part of the school activities. And also, I also heard you talking about being more democratic in schools, because today it is very authoritarian schools, because we have the teachers all standing there and telling you all what to do. And then there is some sort of a freedom struggle between the students and the teachers. So I think this, what you call that free opinion, that what you shared, is more of giving the students some sort of a space where they can openly share what they feel. So being more democratic in our schools is what I heard you saying. And those are excellent points. Okay, Ketki.
I think I completely agree with what Rutuj and Rahul have said. I would just like to add a small bit to it. I was reading something about Vivekananda the other day, and he has opined something about the Guru Shishya Parampara, which was practiced in the olden days. He was saying that an expert guru or a true guru is one who not just gives material to his shishyas but knows how to give it depending on the personality of the shishya. I think that is very applicable over here when we're talking about mentorship, because on the one hand the mentor has to nudge the pupil wherever he or she needs nudging, but still give them a space to flow freely and, as Rahul said, explore over there.
Yeah. So, Ketki, what I hear you saying is what Albert Einstein also said. He says, I never teach my pupils. I only provide the conditions in which they can learn, is what I hear you saying. So that is so beautiful, because this is sort of better teacher-student relationship. When a teacher is able to understand the needs of the children, then they are able to provide mentorship without being impersonal. So I think this relationship, what I hear you saying is that there should be a better relationship than which is available today in our schools. Okay. So once that relationship improves, because Rutud also spoke about the environment, and I hear you speaking about relationships. And I think it's very much to do with your psychology background. So it's very nice. Yeah. So relationships has to be much more sort of flexible and more sort of students being able to discuss things and share their thoughts more freely, more openly, is what I hear you saying. Okay. Now, Amaya, we would like to hear from you. What do you say about our schools?
Right, ma'am, maybe in this perspective, I might need a minute more than the other people. I'm extremely sorry for that because I have a few things to say over here.
Okay,
So,
sure. Yeah.
thank you. So, firstly, the thing is that we need more awareness about sports. We need parents also to be equally aware about opportunities in sports. Right now, what is happening is most of the career opportunities that are being viewed as a player or as a coach. So the most common question that comes up is, if you are a player, only a player, and you end up with an injury, what do you do next? Because most of the parents are not aware about opportunities in sports science, sports management, sports psychology, sports physiotherapy, and the list can go on. As an accompanied education, to the career of a player in sports. So a lot of people tend to not continue sports because there isn't a very good career option apart from player. So the thing is that this awareness itself is missing. We have one of our students, Saili Abhyankar. I think she's 3 years younger to me. So a general trend is that after 10th, a lot of sportsmen will not take science because it consumes a lot of time from their training sessions. But what Saili went on to do is she went on to do science and then went to Deakin University in Melbourne to do a bachelor's in sports science. And now is also playing cricket for an Australian club.
Wow.
So the combination of this can be really helpful. And now one more point I would like to say here is the assessment that goes on for sports. Like a general assessment for sports would be skipping or maybe a jump that is being calculated. So these are absolutely random assessments which are not very sport specific. So a player who is playing, Rahul himself was a national swimmer while he was in school. So now, for example, for a swimmer, he might not be very good at skipping. And someone who is not playing any sport and is good at skipping will have more marks in physical education than Rahul, which absolutely makes no justice to the ability of Rahul. So this is something that needs to be matched. And like I agree with all of them, a mentor here is going to be extremely crucial to make the students and the parents aware about how many opportunities are available in the field of sports and where all they are available, because they won't be available everywhere. So which specific country could be a good option, where in India could be a good opportunity. This all needs to come from a very experienced mentor so that parents also show trust in their children when they want to pursue a career in.
Thank you, Ameya. You brought out a beautiful point, because this is, as we all know, that today jobs are so different, whether it is in sports, whether it is in science or any other area. So whatever you are training today, with the jobs or job opportunities are so different 10 years after you finish your schooling. So what I hear you saying is that this awareness has to be created amongst the parents and the students. Even students need to know what are the job opportunities for various fields. So along with mentorship, which is necessary, I hear you saying that awareness about careers. So career counseling is something which has to start maybe has to be taken up very, very strongly. And I think as even in our policy, we can also share that career counseling has to play a very major role in schools, because not especially in India, parents play an important role in the career choices. So, along with the students, the parents have to be counseled in different careers, the exposure to different careers. So, I'm very happy that a lot of different things have come from you. And we would also, in case you feel that you needed to add something more and you did not, it did not strike you today, you can please write to us, and you can share with us what you feel, what are your suggestions for helping us nurture children with different talents in our schools. What could we have done which we can reduce something, or we can add something? If you can come up, you can discuss it with your friends, form groups of people, discuss it amongst your friends, and write to us back, because then we will all study it and we'll see what we are doing, what we are not doing. And then we can absorb all your suggestions, and we can suggest to the government that this is what needs to be done in our schools. Okay. So I think it was beautiful. And uh, I look forward to maybe I will request Samina or Devasena or anybody else in case you would like to ask our panelists some questions. Please open before I conclude. Yeah.
Thank you, all of you. Actually, it's been very interesting. And each of you have been very eloquent and very concise, seem to be well thought of. And that itself says that this misconceptions that we have that youth, or let's say young people, do not have concrete suggestions. It has to be a person with 30 years of experience or 25. It seems to be a myth. And we should include more, I would say, young aspiring people to share their vision, because uh, the education is for you. And if you can share, it's easy for even educators to incorporate, you know. So that's what comes to my mind. And each of you, like we were sharing before, have chosen such unique different profession, which is not stereotypical, and which also is going to come with a lot of hurdles. So my question is that I know it looks so easy that you have gone to specific career paths, but how did you face educational challenges when people are asking you to make choices of stereotype, when you need to pause and go against the stream, when your peers are saying, why would you want to do this? This seems like a tough choice. This is so much easier. So can you just kind of throw light on that? That's really interesting to me, basically. Because many times parents do support, but then it's a peer group and the society which also puts you down. Like, you could be making more money in shorter time, or this seems more glamorous. Why use go for an expensive education? So many views they have. So basically, how did each of you go about making those choices? Because like Amaya was saying, it's not easy when people say sports as a passion itself is mind boggling. To use it as a career is on the next level, you know. And so as Rutuj and Kate Key, yeah.
Anyone would like to take this first, or I can go?
Abhaya can
Well,
go.
you should go ahead.
Yeah.
So basically, the thing is that I wasn't very great at academics, and it was something that was concerning my parents. And of course, we know, like, we can be very open with this. Relatives are always open to poke their noses here that some of their friends tried to do a career in sports, but they couldn't succeed. And they always have these one or two failure stories with them that would like threaten any 14 or 15-year-old before he makes a career choice. So for me, the thing was that I was pretty sure that I want to pursue a career in football. And the challenges did come my way. Like academically, I had to perform just to make sure that I don't go off the track. Like I don't score too low. Secondly, when I wanted to do a career as a player, there were a lot of challenges as a player because there are many overage players that play in the system because of not having digital documents before, like while we were playing. And Rahul, having played at state and national level, is also aware of this. So apart from that, what happened is then I decided to divert my career from a player to a coach. Then when I started coaching, I realized that the players do not have enough opportunities in India. So I learned Spanish and I did a tie up with a Spanish company so that for good talented players who do not get scope in India can get a pathway to pursue a career in Spain. So there will be challenges that come along, but there will always be solutions to it. So maybe in 8th standard, when I decided that I want to do a career in football, I was only thinking of becoming a football player. But once I progressed ahead, I understood that there needed to be some changes that have to happen in order to make sure that the end result is met. So then challenges will be there, We just have to make sure that we are more aware and open to what is going on, and open to accept that, okay, I might have taken a step wrong, and now I need to take another one to make sure that I go in the right direction.
Very good. Yeah. Thank you, Ameya. So those were your challenges. So you were very sure about what you wanted to do. Anybody else?
Yeah, I'd like to go next if it's okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
So definitely very similar to Ameya's story, but in a different manner. I pursued petroleum engineering when I was in my undergrad. And it's very different to what I'm doing right now. It's motorsport engineering. So I actually put in the chat right now, but I would just make everyone aware that it's quite different to what my curriculum actually is right now. But what made me choose this was during my undergrad, I did again an extracurricular activity, which was Baha. It's a motorsport activity which we design an off-road vehicle and compete on different levels. So during these competitions, I had visited the US a couple of times and was quite successful there. I mean, during that period. So it gave me again a new perspective to couple my sportive side, which, like Amaya said, I had been a part of since my young age, like swimming and football, to the intellectual side, which was my engineer in me. So coupling these two, I could actually find a subject which actually drives me more than anything right now. I'm really passionate about it. I came here. I've been trying to find a job. I actually, even in India, when I did my undergrad, I turned down a very well-paying job because I wasn't interested in it. I wanted to do a different career. So that is the big risk, or that is the big lash that you get from everyone around you, that you turn down such a well-paying job. Why would you do that? I mean, you would have been well off right now. Why do you take such a big step, go to a different country, and that too in a subject that is not very well known? It's a very niche subject. If you look at it, it's a very small space, but doing that makes me happy, and that makes a difference. So I think I can be successful if I'm passionate enough, if I'm working hard enough. And I think that encouragement comes from my family, because they've always been supportive of what I'm doing, but not everyone does that. uh, so I think it is important to actually make let everyone know it is okay to do whatever you want. It is okay to follow your Wi-Fi network. Sorry. You might want to check the connection settings in the Google Home app. Really sorry about that. Uh, so it's really important to let every student know, or every young mind know, that it is okay to follow your passion. It is okay to continue with what you like doing, and you can always make something out of it. It's never really late to change directions, but you always have to keep doing that. That's it. That's
very
the gist of
nice.
it.
Yeah, that's wonderful to hear that you were able to follow your passion, and you were able to understand what you wanted to do. So you were able to see that this is not what, like, money did not sort of change your mind, whereas you knew exactly what you wanted to do. And you had, in spite of having this challenge all around you, you were able to cross over with the support of your family. So that is also very important. Yeah. Thank you, Rahul. Anybody else would like to?
I'd like to add a quick add-on comment to Rahul's say, and this is coming from a perspective of an eighth grade, where you're suddenly supposed to make career choices which are supposed to define your life, and it's a big thing. And suddenly your career becomes the tabletop conversation whenever guests come over. So you're supposed to have it all figured out, and you have no clue what's going on. By the way, you're in eighth grade.
Yeah.
I would say be critical of the advice you're getting. Be smart about the people who you take advice from. If a person who is nothing to do with your career and who is well into their late age is advising you on an Instagram career, I'd say question it a little bit, because new possibilities open up every day. And if the person who's advising you, it may come from a place of concern, but if it doesn't come from a place of information about the career, I'd say don't be affected by it wholeheartedly.
Beautiful, Rutuj. This is a youngster speaking. Yeah, so true. And so here, because information today is so available for all the next generation, so you making your choices by being very alert and seeking the right information. So even schools need to be very, very conscious about giving you that canvas. So not to be loading you with outdated job opportunities and careers, but to open the field for new careers. So this is what I hear you saying. It's beautiful. Yeah.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
Ma'am, can I add to that?
Yeah, Ketki.
There is a choice price principle in rational emotive behavior therapy, which I think has unknowingly come through everybody's speech. And I would quickly like to say what that principle is. So REBT says that choices are extremely personal in nature. Every choice is going to have a certain price that you have to pay for it. That price will be of two types. There is an emotional price that you have to pay, either good or bad, and there is a practical price. When we say that each and every career is going to have some obstacles in the path, we are talking about the practical price. When we're saying that we have to choose what obstacles are worth taking because we have chosen our career and we like what we do, we are taking care of the emotional price. When we're getting something emotionally out of our careers, finding solutions for the obstacles and for the practical price of it becomes very, very easy. And according to me,
Beautifully
career
said.
is...
Ketki? Yeah.
Thank
Please
you.
continue.
Career is something which is going to be a different recipe. Even if you are in the same field, each person's career is going to have a different graph. So I really, like Rutuj said, you have to take everybody's opinions with a pinch of salt and take it only up to a point that is rational and that still keeps you sane.
So true. You take the choices, you hear them out, but then you use your discretion
I think Malati ma'am is kind
to
of
see
freezing.
your strengths. What? Yeah. Allow that to choose. That's very nice. So would any of the educators like to ask some questions?
We have
We have
Damayanti from
Damayanti here.
Kolkata. Yeah.
I think I've been asking a
Yes.
series of questions and getting some lovely answers. Good evening, everyone. And I am so proud of the panelists. You just make us feel assured that certain things that we are trying out in some of our schools, we are on the right track. We do it for, I'll call you my children, you are. So
Yes.
we are doing for you, and what you shared today is very reassuring, because you have tread that path of making tough choices, making unusual choices, and as Ketiki so beautifully explained about the therapy concept here, the from the psychological point of view, it is that you pay a price, but you are happily doing something, and you are happy to pay the price. We all pay prices for everything. There is no free lunch anyway in life. So as long as you have paid the price for a lunch that you are devouring and relishing, it's all worth it. And I just wanted to add one thing, Malkitai, is that when we talk about counseling, about children speaking to people, taking advice, or or people dumping advice on them, which happens more times than the other. We must remember that we must speak to people who are successful in their professions. Now, if you speak to a person who is mildly successful or is not doing quite so well, you won't get the true value or the passion of that particular career or entrepreneurship move or anything. What inspires us, I mean, we oldies are inspired by the enthusiasm and the passion and the hope and the dream that we see in these poor young people today. And that is the passion that we have to also get from the people who are advising young minds on future pathways. That's all. It's wonderful to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Damayanti. That was beautiful said. Yeah,
I
because
have
that
one more
passion,
small thing that I wanted to just kind of add on here, if I may, Malti. Uh, I know there's so much we can ask individually each of you. That itself will add to an entire conversation, which will help younger students, like you said, to make the right choices, to face hurdles, how to look out for solutions, and be happy of the choices they make, and not look at the being forced by what is being said by the common group or the peers. The question that I am curious about is that looking back now, uh, during your tenure in the education system, we've had the regular subjects, basically, right? Not the subjects that you currently do. Supposing we were to, let's say, I think Amay, Rahul and all were talking about secondary onwards, there's some realization, 8th grade onwards, Ritu was saying you need to make choices which are really too big for us. If we had, let's say, life skills or exposure to different mentors, or the third is different subjects, exploring different subjects. What is your take on that? Because these are individual choices you've made. Now, if you have to look back, we want to see how we can prepare our students in the education system so they are able to get what you have made a realization a little earlier if we could help. So, can you just throw light on that? So, what life skills, what kind of courses? So, that's what I'm asking. If you could, do you feel the need, or you feel what's happening right now in education system is perfectly fine? It'll happen a little later, and that's okay because you're much older. What is your take on that?
Mm, if it's okay,
yeah,
I'll start.
Rahul.
Yeah. So if you think about it, uh, eighth standard, seventh standard is a very young age to realize a lot of things. But then again, knowing what to go for, or what type of an approach you need in life to just understand life is a big thing. And that can be started at a young age, I think. Not really understanding what is life, but you can start that approach to knowing the wider space of life is easier. So some subjects like uh, maybe free essay, or just writing whatever comes to your mind makes a big difference, right? So maybe a session where people can find something new, just outside of what is in the scope of studies, and make make some kind of a presentation on it, or just try to discuss it with each other. That makes a lot more sense than uh, studying. I mean, I don't know. For me, it was okay, trigonometry and everything, because I did it afterwards. But for a lot of people, even I mean, the three of the other panelists, I don't think they've ever used trigonometry ever after their eighth or ninth grade. So that really doesn't make sense to everyone. So one size fits all is not something that helps, right? So life skills, I mean, home science and everything was good enough, obviously. But after that, when it comes to higher level of advanced mathematics or advanced science, or something that is not really relevant to everyone, should only be an optional part of the curriculum, and not really be compulsory to everyone. I mean, I know a lot of friends who did study all of that, were kind of depressed because of it, but then ended up trying to follow their passion, and they are doing all right now. I mean, never using whatever they learned back then, but still doing really well right now. So if they were given a better platform before, I think they would have flourished a lot more. I mean, I can definitely say that. I mean, I think a couple of my batchmates are here, Rukmini and Xenia. I don't know if Xenia is here anymore in the Zoom chat. But even Rukmini, I mean, I remember we used to literally talk through the night trying to do math and clear an exam the next day, and uh, that's something that is not really necessary, especially for Rukmini. I mean, she's doing animation right now, and that really doesn't help her anyway. So trying to find some new subjects which is more general, or having some optional subjects which can nurture their interests is something that I would suggest.
Thank you, Rahul. That's
Yeah.
interesting. That it is said by Abdul Kalam that the best brains of the nation may be found on the last benches of the classroom. So if something is not interesting them, then you'll find them sitting in the last bench, because the curriculum is not addressing their needs. So you're asking the institutes to become aware that maybe you need to have different levels in choice of subjects for children with different abilities. That's what I hear you saying. And that is so true. Yeah. So shall we now wind up? Anything?
We have
Yeah, I think Dr.
want to ask?
Vandana has something to say. Yeah,
Pardon?
please go ahead.
What did you say, Devsena?
Dr. Vandana,
Vandana. Yes, Vandana. She's speaking from Delhi. Okay. Yeah. Vandana, we can't hear you. No, we can't hear you.
Can you type, put it on the chat if possible?
Yeah, we can't hear you.
Yeah, try speaking.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Yes,
perfectly.
yes.
Yeah. Okay. So some problem with the speaker. So so many educators are there, and young young champs are there. So I just want to ask to educators and ask to all of you young minds that just tell me how much our education system is helpful for a 10th grader to make a choice about the career or about a decent livelihood. And if it is not suitable, because I've been since long I've been telling this thing that 11th at the after 10th it is too early to make a choice, because the subjects are very limited which are being taught and exposure is hardly anything. So what do you think, what kind of, since you all have seen different careers and you all are established in your respective fields, so suggest that what changes in this new system or this education system should make to facilitate the process of choosing career for the young minds. Just give your ideas. So maybe there are so many people here who can in the policy making and educators and in schools, maybe that would be helpful.
Can I go?
Yeah, Rutuj, go.
Yeah, Rutuj.
So I think we all here agree the presence of counselors and career counselors is crucial during these years. And I just have a different aspect to share regarding this. So lockdown has taught us that we don't need physical presence of counselors for them to share their wisdom with us. And I feel like after, especially in Indian educational system, after 10th grade, your world suddenly blasts open. You're suddenly exposed to this big new world, and that transition can be rough for a lot of people. So I feel like exposure to people who are actually working in industry, people who have actually achieved in very different, not success from a capitalist point of view, but success in many, many different perspectives. These people should be brought over to talk to children. The children should be exposed to them so that they can have conversations early on when they start realizing what they gravitate towards. So just simply exposure to people. It can be online, it can be through webinars similar to this, but just so that we know what's going on outside the bubble of school.
That's very well put.
Okay.
And Vandana, to share with you, now with the new education policy, that choice of immediately after 10th standard, that is reduced now. So now till 12th standard, and even after the 12th, when you go graduate also, undergrad programs have become very liberal. So the children have been given now with the new education policy more time to choose what they are passionate about doing and understanding their strengths and choosing a career which they love. So very soon NEP will has opened up. So we are looking forward to that sort of a space for our children. Yeah.
Yeah,
Ma'am,
you
I
wanted
would
to say
just
something?
like to, yeah, I wanted to just say something. I just wanted to add up to what Rutu said. So the
Yeah.
first thing is about having multiple options to select from, like you have for Sanskrit, French, or German. Similarly, there need to be options in which students can select. And secondly, with regards to what Rutu said, KHS has also already started with a radio where they do call over a lot of industry experts to interact with the students. So it's a very good step that has been taken by KHS even before the policy has been implemented. Maybe we can have more frequent speakers coming up, but because I've been close to the school even after passing out from the school, I have seen those changes actually happen, how it has changed over the years than how it was back when we were students. So definitely that is a very good point put forward by Rutuj about having experts coming and interacting with the students. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you,
Can I
Amaya.
just share?
Yeah, Ketki.
I would just like to share a personal experience that really goes with what Ameya and Rutuj are trying to say here. I have been observing our school counselors in KHS from a very young age. It was because of Sonal Bawdekar ma'am and Samina ma'am right here that I was exposed to what counselors actually do in field. And I think that is largely responsible for why I have chosen psychology as a subject to study. Had I first read a very theoretical book on psychology before observing them work, I don't think I would have been so interested from the very beginning. So yes, having experts is really helpful.
So what I hear you saying, Ketki, is y'all are all looking for role models. So, and which role model is going to connect with your interests and your strengths is what I think students are looking forward to in schools. So that's a beautiful point which you just now raised and you shared just now with us. And I'm sure that we now schools will look into this and we will see what best to do. That is why we always say that the alumni should become a part of the school because our alumni fly. Jyoti wants to say something. Yeah.
Yes. First of all, hearty congratulations to all the 4 youngsters here. I was really amazed by their inputs and their thoughts and their very mature thoughts, in fact. I loved what they said about, the kinds of things that are required for change in schools, right? But to add on to what said about, the need to have more experts coming into the school, I wanted to say that seeing them here today, I would suggest that you should have a lot of these, like you said, alumni come in and speak to the school. So it's not just the experts. We need you people, you youngsters who are actually working in the field, who are studying maybe or already in your profession, should be also be invited to schools to speak to the students. So yeah, so congratulations again. And I really enjoyed listening to all of you and hearing your thoughts. And again, what you spoke about, these principles that you're talking about, that should be applied in schools, I feel it has to be applied across the board, not for just a select group of students, but really for all students, so that everyone can really benefit from all that. And fortunately for us, the NEP is already talking about it. And now it's only a question of really implementing it in the schools. So I think we are at a very good time in this field of education, Malti, right? To be able to see all the fruits
changes.
of, yes, of your labor then, actually. And what a few people, only a few children experienced earlier, hopefully all children will experience in the future. So thank you so much for all your inputs. Thank you, Malti.
Thank you, Jyoti. And she's a value educator. And we started this mindful parenting program. And she is part of that. And we have formed a core committee. And that's what we are doing with our students, with our parents. We have a parent program. So Jyoti is part of that. We got it from the University of Berkeley. And we ran it in from 18 to 29. And now the parents have taken charge of this parenting program. It is of parents, by parents, and for parents now. But it was started by us, okay? So
school should be for children, by children.
Correct. And of children.
Yeah, that's true.
Children,
in fact, I will close with that statement, that the fact is, no matter how good the teacher, how small the class, how focused on quality education the school may be, none of this matters if we ignore the individual needs of our students. Whether it is high ability or less ability, if we ignore the needs of our children, then that is not what a school should aspire to be. So if we want India to do very well today in the context of 2020, that mentions nurturing the needs of children with high ability, since we are doing KGERC in schools. We have a panel and who have shared their experiences at school education and higher education. And I think from this webinar, we were able to collect from our youth what is exactly needed in our schools. What changes can we do in order to make it more student specific and make it more learner specific, and so that we are able to see that we are able to teach our children how to learn than what to learn. Because what to learn is available on the internet. You browse and you'll get to know what you want to learn. But how to learn and keep that learning lifelong and keep it ignited is what I heard all the students talking about. So I hope this webinar will set a direction towards helping institutes build a pool of talent for our nation by addressing the needs of all our students. And I thank each one of you. I'll call you all children only, because I can't call you anything else, because you are our future. And so beautifully you have shared what you want happening in our schools. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for giving us this platform. It has been a great experience. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It has been an absolute honor speaking to you all, and I can't wait to meet you all in person the next time I'm in Pune, ma'am. Thank you so much.
So now you will know that.
Thank you.
next time
Thank you.
when
Thank you so much.
Yeah, all the changes which will happen in our school will be so because of all of you.
Really glad to help and
Yeah.
definitely very proud to see.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, ma'am. It's been an honor.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Malati. Thank you, Dev Sena.